the book, the works of Dr. Lisa Gordon. And at this point, we will be handing over essentially, because not only will we hear from Dr. Gordon herself, finally, but she will also make presentations to some of us in this room. So in lieu of large photography and long videography, we will simply ask that you join her at the front of the room to receive your, what I imagine are autographed books, which eventually will be worth more than they are right now, because over time, when we explore the contents of this book, we develop the opportunities within international trade for live music. There is a lot to be gained. At this point, I will say thank you very much for your attention, for your time, and for, of course, lending your support to Dr. Gordon. It has been my absolute pleasure and honor to be your MC this evening. But now, ladies and gentlemen, the lady of the hour will grace us with her words. I give you Dr. Lisa Gordon.
Thank you very much, Ainka, for doing an exceptional job as MC. I am so impressed. And I also want to thank all of you who are here, all protocols observed. I may not have all the names because, truth be told, coming on the podium is way out of my comfort zone. I'm naturally a shy person, but I rise to the occasion when it's necessary. So I'm going to try. I've written my speech. So as I told you, speaking at public events, such as this one, is way out of my comfort zone. As I already indicated, I am naturally a shy person. As my mom jokingly remarks about me, I'm somewhat of a nerd who is most comfortable reading books and writing. However, I am quite the contradiction when it comes to live music. My passion for live music enables me to overcome my shyness. To my mom, this aspect of my character is no surprise. She often tells me that as a baby of just a few months old, I used to try my hand at live performance. According to her, I would babble tunes, which I heard on the radio. My love for live music progressed in the course of my childhood. At school concerts, I was invited to perform solos, and by the time I was 8, I entered into our local kids talent show, 12 and under. I placed 3rd in the preliminaries. Yay. I didn't make the finals though. In 6th form, while being just among the few girls in an all-boys school, I was asked to sing live at my 6th form school's music concert. I remember the song, It's a Beautiful Life by Swedish group Ace of Base. All my shyness was shed. And based on the crowd response relative to my performance, it seemed to be lit, you know? It seemed that what appeared to be my lit performance at the 6th form school's concert was due to years of practice during my adolescence in the basement of my home. There I would crank up the music loudly, most likely to my neighbor's chagrin, with my mic and speaker box in tow, singing singles from groups such as the Dutch techno group, house group 2 Unlimited, the Irish group The Cranberries, the British artist Jamiroquai, and practicing my own rendition of Dingole by the Mighty Sparrow of Trinidad and Tobago, my Mighty Shadow of Trinidad and Tobago. Excuse me, like the events, my nerves, my shyness is getting the better of me. I did this living in hope that one day I would travel to Europe and make it big as a techno singer. This was really what I wanted to do. Well, based on where I am today, clearly that dream did not materialize. Nonetheless, I do thoroughly enjoy being an academic and a researcher. So as I transitioned from adolescence to early adulthood, my passion for music never waned. After a 2-year break from studies following the completion of my A-levels, I pursued an associate's program in tourism management and delved right back into the live music scene. But this time as an intern at the Dominica Festivals Commission. My task was to provide logistical support for the organization of the island's World Creole Music Festival. I truly enjoyed this internship. My being in Dominica allowed me to become exposed to music from Dominica, as well as from territories of the French Creole-speaking world, including Guadeloupe, Martinique, Haiti, Louisiana, St. Lucia. I remember having had the opportunity to work alongside Dominica's Grand Dame of Music, Lady Ophelia, and I soon befriended Dominicans who, like me, had a passion for live music. They would invite me to attend live music events where French Creole musical genres like compas, zouk, bouillon, cadence calypso were sung. My love for live music endured even whilst I lived in France for 7 years. While in grad school, Alexia may not know this because I did this on the side, on the lows. But while in grad school in France, I was a backup singer for a soul funk emerging band. I believe that there is a video that one of the band members still has on his Facebook wall where you would see me performing. In my grad school days in France, I attended several live music events. I attended both indoor concerts and open festivals with my friends, which featured artists from all over the world, namely the legendary reggae bands from Jamaica or London, as well as well-known contemporary bands from Haiti, as well as emerging artists from West and North Africa. And incidentally, I attended a live music concert with my Alexia's husband, who at that time was her fiance, called Dub, to see a band, Dub Incorporated. So I have fun memories of that. Alexia stayed home, but I went with her fiance and his friend. So it was 3 of us at that concert. So I was really into live music. So you must be asking, what has inspired me to commence a doctoral research in 2015 and then later write a book on Caribbean live music and international trade? Because I saw there was an absolute need. And just to digress a bit, I was heartened to see that in the UK Guardian in 2021, Sir Elton John made an appeal for more research and the collection of data on live music. But anyway, let me get back to the topic of what I was saying. So I commenced my doctoral research in 2015, and I later wrote this book on international trade and Caribbean live music because I really saw that it had to be done. There was a need. 16 years ago, an interregional trade agreement was signed between the CARICOM and the European Union, known as the Economic Partnership Agreement. Dr. Gonzalez referenced that when he did his presentation. The agreement was signed to facilitate the easy flow of goods and services between the regions. The flow of entertainment services like live music was included in this agreement, and added to this agreement was the Protocol for Cultural Cooperation, a protocol which was added or incorporated into the Economic Partnership Agreement to facilitate non-monetary measures for the development of cultural services trade, like live music, between the EU, European Union, of course, and CARIFORUM. However, despite the existence of the Economic Partnership Agreement and the Protocol for Cultural Cooperation, I noted that since a round of negotiations and trade missions which occurred during 2009 and 2010 to lay the groundwork for trade in entertainment services between the overseas EU non-sovereign territories and independent Anglophone countries in the Caribbean. Since then, those efforts have stalled. I wanted to investigate why this was happening. I questioned whether there were external factors which contributed to the stalling of these negotiations and the development of live music trade between the two regions. Therefore, I thought it best to scientifically investigate this issue. Hence, I designed a theoretical framework and empirical model to explore what were the factors influencing the development of live music trade between the EU French Caribbean territories and the independent Anglophone countries of CARICOM, also part of the CARIFORUM. Another reason why I decided to pursue a doctoral study and then later publish a book on international trade in Caribbean live music, despite my naturally shy nature, is that I grew confident that I had the requisite skill set to pursue both projects. I reasoned that my proficient multilingual abilities in English, Spanish, and French, as well as my master's in international business and foreign languages from the Université Lumière in France, Lyon, made me qualified to either conduct studies on or discuss how consumer demand, technology, trade facilitation, legal frameworks, language differences, geographical and geopolitical factors impact on both South-South and North-South trade in live music services. I thought this combined skill set in international business and foreign languages important, given that both the Caribbean and Europe are multilingual regions. I wanted to ensure that I had the requisite business and foreign language skill set to conduct in-depth research, which would require that I read trade reports and journals, parliamentary and legislative documents, as well as interview officials and survey live music stakeholders in their native language. Also, I reasoned that for my research projects to be well received and for me to gain the trust among live music stakeholders, academics, and trade officials, it would require my having to step out of my shy comfort zone by doing interviews with the media, doing conferences and guest lectures in the native language of the country or territory. This was exactly what I did. I presented in conferences, including one which is organized by the Regional Council of Guadeloupe and hosted by the Université des Antilles. I also responded to requests for media interviews in Guadeloupe, and I also did a guest lecture at the Université de Rennes in mainland France upon the invitation of the head of the program on the studies of Latin America and the Iberian Peninsula. My decision to pursue research on international trade in Caribbean live music services also stemmed from the world-class quality of Caribbean live music, as embodied by live performances of Bob Marley from Jamaica, Rihanna from Barbados, Broadway star Heather Headley of Trinidad and Tobago, the Mighty Sparrow. See, I got it good this time. This time I got it. The Mighty Sparrow from both Trinidad and Tobago and Grenada, depending on what side of his parentage you're from, you know. and Kassav from Guadeloupe. Also, the fact that our region's panists perform live at concert halls across Europe, Asia, and North America is a testament, and here Toyana just exhibited that, is a testament of the wellspring of world-class talent from our region. Therefore, with such examples of incredible live music talent from our region, you might now be able to understand my preoccupation in seeing how I can contribute to the advancement of international trade in live music from the Caribbean. My commitment to research on international trade and live music also stems from my wanting to assist in the development of entrepreneurship within the youth of urban and rural communities who are heavily involved in the music industry within our region. Many would say that it is often the marginalized young Caribbean communities who are musical innovators. Steel pan music, hip hop, which incidentally has Caribbean roots because it came from the Caribbean diaspora in New York, reggae, dancehall, and most recently here in Trinidad, Trinibad and Zest are all musical genres which have their origins in young Caribbean urban communities or their diasporas in the global north. However, despite the fountain of incredible talent from the Caribbean, the reality is that many emerging artists and other live music stakeholders have not been able to break into markets within this region, nor in the global north. Therefore, the purpose of my book, International Trade and the Music Industry, Live Music Services from the Caribbean, is to contribute to existing discussions on why this might be happening and to offer new pathways of research into what other factors impacting on international trade in Caribbean live music services. The book also offers a blueprint to public policy officials who may be looking for innovative means to collect empirical data on international trade in live music. And from my own experience in conducting research, data on this kind of trade is notoriously scarce due to a multiplicity of factors, those of which I've gone in depth in my book, International Trade and the Music Industry, Live Music Services from the Caribbean. Nonetheless, this data is very important to have for evidence-based policymaking. You need the data. In terms of how this book stimulates discussions on new pathways of research into international trade in Caribbean live music, it does so through interdisciplinary lens. In this book, you will find themes including a comparative analysis of live K-pop, also known as Korean pop music, and Caribbean live music. 2, how existing international trade agreements and conflicting diplomatic priorities affect interregional trade in live music between the EU and independent Caribbean countries, CARICOM. 3, the relationship between soft power diplomacy and international trade in live music between the global North and South. 4, the relevance of race and ethnicity in extra-regional and intra-regional trade in live music between the global North and South. 5, the use of technology for developing international trade in live music between the global North and South. 6, an empirical methodology, which I explained, to be used as a template for studies on international trade in live music. And 7, recommendations to bridge the language gap to develop international trade in Caribbean live music with non-English speaking markets of the global North. And 8, a proposal to harmonize conflicting legal frameworks between sovereign and non-sovereign Caribbean territories so that international trade in live music is facilitated. The book, though a peer-reviewed publication, is an enjoyable and easy read. I deliberately ensured that readers would not be saddled with reading too many chapters, because the reality is that in this fast-paced, high-tech world where we have a lot of diversions, I can speak for myself, you kind of are more inspired to read short books, you know? Not to say that I'm averse to long reading as well. I do both, but I'm just saying that short books might be a little more attractive. So in terms of, a lot of you were making requests as to how you can purchase my book. In the book launch invitation that I sent to you, you would have received a discount code when you purchase this book through the Routledge e-platform. Use it, get that 20% discount. And because of your having taken the time to come to this launch, both physically and virtually, I'm gifting you with free copies of chapter 6 of my book that you should expect to receive in your inbox sometime tomorrow. Yeah. So before I close and before I present the books to the invitees, some of them special invited guests, I cannot end without thanking you, Dr. Bonchut. You've been very supportive of me, and I am very grateful, with your kind words and encouragement. Thank you very much. I thank Ms. Wenda Rock she really worked hard in helping me logistically to organize this event. This is my first organization of a book launch, so I'm happy that I got that support, as well as the rest of the IIR staff who assisted Ms. Rock. I'd also like to thank Mr. John Maloney for having, even though he's ill and the injury, for still facilitating the technical aspect of this event, as well as his colleague who came as well. Thank you very much. And I also want to thank all those from the IRR who gave logistical support for this event so that it came off as it should. And I also want to I have to thank the participants of my book launch, Dr. Anthony Peter Gonzalez, my mentor, and, the stickler for empirical work, good empirical work, he, as we say in local parlance, he doesn't play, so I thank him for all his support and inspiration and all the knowledge he has shared with me over the years. And it is because of his support and mentorship that this book has come about, as well as I wish to thank also Professor Watson and Dr. Steve Nurse. I also would like to thank Dr. Roy McCree for having, shared your kind words about our friendship. Thank you so much. You've been a source of support for me during this whole PhD journey. It could be daunting, so I really, really appreciate our friendship. I thank my dear friend Alexia, even though there are like miles of seas between us, our friendship is strong and our bond is strong. So I knew that when I asked that you say a few words about me, I was confident that you'd say yes. And what a great homage you've done to our friendship. Sister Jaya, a million thanks to you. Thank you so much for, agreeing to do this. I really like your vibe, we met just recently, but it seems as though we've been friends forever. And may you and your band grow from strength to strength. Your talent it's there for everyone to see. And what I enjoy about you is the fact that you're bilingual. You're very fluent in English and very fluent in French, trilingual, as well as in Creole. So I hope this begins this partnership between the English-speaking Caribbean and the French-speaking Caribbean in terms of live music. I also want to thank Toyana Carlo. Toyana is family to me. So I'm so happy that she came and she performed so beautifully. I feel proud to call them, my family. So thank you so much, Toyana. She's not here, but boy, what a wonderful performance and what a great presentation she has done for our national instrument. And last by no least means, the Master of Ceremonies, Anka Williams. My goodness, I am so impressed. Thank you so much for managing this event. And I have to thank my family, my dearest mom, for all her support. Auntie Jean, Auntie Myrna, thank you for all your logistical support. My dear daughter Gianna, thank you also for your logistical support. My cousin Francis Hanson Lewis, thank you also for your logistical support. Dr. Shami, who's not family, but family at the Institute of International Relations, thank you for guiding me as to how to stage an event. And of course, my dear friend Kanya James, thank you for cheering me on during this whole process and giving me advice. She's on her way up to finishing her PhD as well. So, and to all those names I may have forgotten, know that I owe you a debt of gratitude. Thank you very much. Yes, the presentation.